So why have you decided to stay in this area?
This is my home. The church is my home. I have church family here. You know, I love the people here.
The neighborhood is really devastated. Because a lot of unemployment.
It doesn't have a bad reputation. People give it the bad reputation. I feel safer walking down Drouillard Road than I do down Olet Avenue.
It's like any community. If you're there to look for trouble and to cause trouble, you're gonna make trouble, especially in a tougher kind of community.
It's a good place to be, but a bad place to be at the same time.
The people around here, they watch their own, and if something happens, they take care of their own.
We gotta do something to help that neighborhood.
Ford City is a neighborhood called Drouillard Road neighborhood. It was called that for years and years. Obviously, way back in the early 40s and 50s, it was a very vibrant neighborhood. There were over 100 stores, gas stations, a cinema, a lot of grocery stores. It was a real hub. But in the early 50s, when Ford moved out, it sort of became neglected. You know, people then began to move to the suburbs also, so a lot of core neighborhoods took a hit.
Then the neighborhood is really devastated. Because a lot of unemployment, and people work there for 15, 20 years, and some of them 30 years, and some they have very small pension, and some they have nothing. So, what the consequence is? We gotta do something to help that neighborhood.
The stereotype is a main block towards people coming into Drouillard and maybe, setting up a new business in Drouillard. We do have a lot of empty storefronts here. And I know when my boss was looking for space to bring the clinic, there was a lot of empty storefronts, but not just empty, but that needed a lot of repairs.
We're not blind to what, you see certain things around here. Like I said, it's a colorful neighborhood, right? But you know what? This isn't the only place where they're at.
Mm-hmm. And there's color all over.
Yeah, there's color everywhere. As that's a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. There's colorful people everywhere.
Mm-hmm. This area is no different than Sandwich. Is no different than Forest Glade. Is no different than downtown. Is no different than
Walkerville, Southwood, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Pick it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think they still see it as as basically a low-income area, high-crime area. I mean, that's still the stereotype. It's actually not valid. The west end of the city has and the downtown core have significantly higher rates of crime.
About a year and a half ago, there used to be a bar here by the name of Whiskey Jack's. It was a 2-story building, and it suffered a substantial fire as a result of an arson. And as you can see now, we just have an empty lot. The building's since been torn down. And that's kind of typical in this particular area. When buildings burn, they're not being replaced. A lot of the buildings are older, a lot of them in disrepair. In this case, this building, we were kind of lucky because it was against the other building. You can still see the outline of the other building where the fire was. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. We've had a lot of fires in this area. However, not overly disproportionate to other areas of the city. It's just that when things burn here, it tends to be a bit worse because we're dealing with older buildings. Most of the homes in this area are of older construction, built in the 30s and 40s and 50s. A depressed area like this, when things burn, they're often not replaced. If this was in another area of the city, perhaps somebody might have rebuilt right away, but in this case they didn't.
I don't think we have any specific illnesses directly related to drugs or alcohol. It's certainly a big part of some of what we see, but it's not the total thing. It's not the only thing.
This area here, they're like one big family. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of alcohol, but they don't care. They still take care of their own, and they don't judge anybody for what they may do.
Because I know even when I tell people that I work on Drouillard Road, they're like, "Oh my goodness, do you feel safe there?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I feel safe. I go walking every day at lunchtime. I feel safe in the neighborhood. It's not an issue, I mean, we do have our issues with crime just like any other area, but I just read a report that they're nowhere near some of the other areas in Windsor.
You know, we still have some drug houses in our neighborhood, and a lot of our seniors weren't feeling safe. So this way, in having neighborhood events, they can come together and we can talk to them and find out, like, how can we make you feel even more safe, and what can we do so you feel secure?
I think there has been, even in the last 3 to 4 years, a real even more insurgence of, revitalization of Drouillard. I don't think people have changed, because the people are still the same people at heart, which, like I said, there's a lot of great, fantastic people. I think the perception of Drouillard is starting to change, and it's starting to get a little bit better perception, because people are seeing some of the goodness, and they're seeing some of the abandoned stuff ripped down and things spruced up, and the murals and all the other stuff, that a few of the organizations are doing here in the community.
So right now we're trying to find what would be something that would attract people here. We know we have the history of Ford, we have the murals, we have some really good things that we think we can sort of latch onto.
And I said, look at this funny looking building. And she seen the inside, then she seen the address, and she said, okay, let's forget that. But, after coming back a couple of times, it's not what everybody seems to think it is.
Well, on top of which, I think that, your dad always said there's nothing wrong with Drouillard Road.
Right. One of the best times we had here was not last summer, but the summer before. On May 1st, on Canada Day, the neighborhood, we put together a fundraiser in secret. We didn't tell Marina Clemens from Drouillard Place, because she worked so hard to bring money to our community to help our kids. We had bouncy castles. We roasted 2 whole pigs. We had hot dog lunch, and us people in the neighborhood provided everything, and we still collected $900 from Drouillard Place. So we paid for all of our own kids to go to summer camp.
People are moving here.
Yeah, they are moving here.
That's the whole point. Maybe they weren't, but they are moving here. We're not the first ones who moved here. And like you said, there's a new one going up over here.
There's an auction house down the street. There's somebody that moved
the
in
auction house.
that actually,
The
instead
Edge
of
of
moving
Nostalgia
away, they
building.
moved to another location within this area.
Yeah.
There's the Sunflower Cafe that opened up down there. There's a pizza parlor down there. These people
They
are
are
already
moving,
staying.
so it takes time.
When we started, we certainly looked at how to improve the neighborhood image, how to look at community development, how to get the residents engaged in their community. And we had a number of committees, and it went really, really well. And there were some really key leaders within the community.
This is quite the neighborhood. It's quite colorful, and we like it. The people look out for each other. They're friendly. They're inquisitive. They want to know what you're doing, and they watch out for your place.
We need we need to convey the message to the investors or to developers. Drouillard Place, Ford City Place is a safe neighborhood. The minute they get this message, and I think the neighborhood will start to become a lot better than what it is now.
I think the key there is to keep the community groups alive that are there, Drouillard Place and some of the other ones, the development councils. I think that's probably the key part, that they continue to see themselves as a community and a viable one.
The people that have lived here for a while know everybody. They're very protective of each other. They look after each other. Just the fact that it's an area in the city that's had its struggles and seems to still, persevere.
What people perceive this area to be, it's not.
Don't be scared.
It's not negative.
You give me a call, and we'll come and get you, and we'll walk you up and down the street and make sure that you see that it's not the cracked out place that you think it is.
But the people who have stayed, are very committed to seeing that at some point they rejuvenate, and that they'll be part of that rejuvenation. So there's that community endurance and strength that I'm not sure there's another part of the city that has the same type of history or willingness and commitment to continue fighting to bring the community